Have you ever looked at the woman you love and felt like you were already losing her? Not because she said anything, but because her silence said everything. You know that feeling. Something changes, even if you can't explain it. She is physically beside you, yet emotionally distant. The excitement she once showed when you entered the room has faded. The hand that used to reach for yours now stays at her side. There are no heated arguments or dramatic confrontations, just a quiet emotional gap hidden behind polite smiles. Here's what many men fail to understand until the damage is already done: cheating rarely begins with physical intimacy. It starts with emotional withdrawal. You notice it in the way she casually says, "I'm okay," while your instincts insist something is not right. She still kisses you goodnight, but it feels empty, as though her heart is somewhere else. This video is not here to scare you. It's here to wake you up, because the signs were always there. You just didn't believe them. So today, that all ends. You're not crazy. You are finally seeing the truth. If you have spent weeks or months doubting your instincts, stay with me. By the end of this video, you will have a better understanding of why that quiet inner voice deserves your attention. Sign number 1, she smiles, but she's emotionally absent. She may still be around you, but she no longer feels emotionally engaged. When she says she's tired, it sounds more like a rehearsed excuse than a genuine explanation. Her morning greetings feel automatic, lacking warmth or enthusiasm. The sparkle that once filled her eyes has disappeared, and even her laughter no longer brings you closer. Instead, it feels distant and unfamiliar. What you're witnessing is not genuine connection, it is routine. She's going through the motions rather than sharing herself with you. One important truth to remember is that emotional detachment often comes before physical betrayal. Long before someone crosses a line physically, they may have already disconnected emotionally. That inner separation is often the first and most clear red flag. It's similar to noticing a cold draft in a room that should feel warm. You can't see where it's coming from, but you can feel that something has changed. This is where many men become confused because emotional distance develops gradually. It's subtle enough to dismiss, which is exactly what makes it dangerous. Yet a man who is emotionally aware and grounded can notice when the warmth, closeness, and affection that once defined the relationship begin to quietly disappear. Sign number 2, she hides in plain sight. At this stage, she doesn't necessarily tell obvious lies. Instead, she simply stops sharing her life with you. Conversations become brief, details disappear, and the openness you once enjoyed slowly fades away. Her phone is always within reach, notifications stay muted, and she subtly keeps the screen out of your view. Little by little, the relationship that once felt transparent begins to fill with invisible walls. Parts of her life become off-limits, and you're no longer invited into them. If you question these changes, she may dismiss your concerns by calling you insecure, jealous, or overly controlling. Rather than addressing the issue, she shifts the focus onto your reaction. The reality is that honesty isn't threatened by reasonable questions. Someone with nothing to hide rarely fears being observed. One of the hardest parts is that she encourages you to doubt yourself instead of examining her own behavior. As long as you keep convincing yourself that your instincts are wrong, she never has to explain why things have changed. A wise man doesn't rely solely on hard evidence. He pays attention to repeated patterns. When someone begins living a separate emotional life, the shift becomes visible through consistent actions. You're not imagining the distance, you've simply been excluded from a part of her world. Remember this. Emotional betrayal often begins the moment openness disappears. The first warning sign isn't always another person, it's the gradual loss of access to the relationship you once shared. Sign number 3, intimacy without presence. You may still sleep beside each other, but the relationship no longer feels warm. The distance isn't measured in inches, it's measured in emotion. Sometimes she avoids affection altogether or repeatedly rejects intimacy. Other times, she may suddenly become unusually passionate, yet something feels different. The connection that once made those moments meaningful is gone, leaving the experience feeling empty or forced. When someone's heart has drifted elsewhere, genuine affection often becomes difficult to fake. Recognizing this doesn't make you needy or overly sensitive. It simply means you're paying attention to the emotional reality of the relationship. Pretending everything is unchanged when you know it isn't only causes you to lose yourself while trying to hold on to someone who is already emotionally absent. Sign number 4, constant conflict over trivial issues. She may criticize you for replying too slowly, leaving a small mess behind, or using the wrong tone during a conversation. Minor issues become the center of repeated conflicts that seem completely out of proportion. You replay those conversations in your mind, searching for what you did wrong, yet deep inside you realize the arguments were never really about dirty dishes or unanswered messages. The growing emotional distance is the real issue. Sometimes unresolved guilt causes people to redirect their frustration onto their partner. By making you seem like the problem, they can justify their own emotional withdrawal. Eventually, you may find yourself apologizing for things that were never your fault, slowly losing confidence in your own perception of reality. A confident, emotionally grounded man doesn't get trapped in endless emotional games. He watches actions carefully, creates healthy emotional distance when necessary, and protects his own peace of mind. Sign number 5, you disappear from her vision of the future. This sign rarely arrives with dramatic announcements. Instead, it appears quietly over time. She once spoke naturally about plans you would share. Conversations included phrases like, when we move in, when we buy a home, or, we should visit Greece someday. Gradually, that language changes. Now her plans revolve around herself. Instead of we, you hear I. She talks about moving, finding herself, healing, or starting a new chapter, but your role in those dreams has quietly disappeared. It can feel as though you've been erased from the future while you're still holding on to the life you imagined together. This isn't always uncertainty. Sometimes it's the result of a decision that has already been made internally. When someone repeatedly says they just need time, it may not be a request for patience. It can be the beginning of an emotional countdown while they continue adjusting to life without you. As difficult as it may be to accept, emotional betrayal often begins long before physical infidelity. The relationship starts to unravel the moment someone emotionally checks out and no longer chooses to reconnect.